All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to this is now, I believe, the 17th episode of 500 Miles. I've been doing this for 17 straight weeks, not counting the Coke 600. But nice to see you guys all again here on 500 Miles. This is your host, Adam Relkin here. And today we have a special guest here joining us. This is John Szulczewski. I got it right the first time. Joining us as our guest co-host this week. So, John, nice having you on.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yep, and again, I mean, it's really great to be able to have you on because I know you're a guy who really can talk about racing very well. And I mean, in general, like for those who aren't aware, John is a guy who's spotted as high as the Cup Series this year on the road courses. So, like, just tell me a little bit about John. You know what it's been like working in the sport in general and all.
It's been a pretty enjoyable career so far. I've been doing this since 2017. Started spotting back then, and like you said, have been across all the different series, ARCA East, West, and National, all the way up to the Cup Series. It's been a lot of fun to integrate into different teams and see how you can benefit them and make them better every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like what exactly are some of the things that like you're the proudest of accomplishing amongst there?
A lot of it is just I'm pretty proud of the fact I'm able to make just about every driver I work with better, giving them a lot of good information, lap times in relation to cars they should be able to race against. I'm very proud of getting several underdogs top fives, Matt Kemp, Zachary Tinkle, those guys that don't have a whole lot of budget, and being able to coach them up and spot them up to great finishes.
Yeah, I think it's just something to be really proud of. And I know outside of Arco, like I mean, you've spotted in the Truck Series. I remember you spotted for I think Thor Sport
Yep, I'm a road course spotter for Thor Sport, and I fill in for Rayum when they need.
when they need. And I know you've also spotted in Xfinity as well, soon to be the O'Reilly Series for Gase, I believe. I remember the roster showed your name there.
Hmm.
And then even as high as the Cup Series with Catherine Legg. I mean, I remember after that. I mean, I think on this show actually, I when Catherine got that top 20 at Chicago, I gave you a shout out because I was like, this guy helped guide Catherine Legg to a top 20 in a BJ McLeod car. Like that deserves so much credit.
And for what it's worth, it was in one of the worst corners possible. Was that corner you come around the fountain and you're just
Yeah,
blind to the right-handers there. Was able to keep her from piling into that first wreck that just happened out of nowhere with Hocevar bouncing off the wall. Got her woed up way in advance, and no one behind us hit us. We didn't have to slam on the brakes. We got there through there nice and skippy.
yeah, that sounds that sounds like a lot there. But I mean, it's still something that seems like a lot of fun to be doing, like helping drivers like Catherine, Takuma Koga in Xfinity you spotted for at Portland. Who are some of the Rayom guys you've spotted for? Frankie,
It was with Malazi
Stephen
this year.
Malazzi,
In the past, Derek. Wow, I'm blanking on his name. It's
Derek
the
Lemke.
one that is, yes, Lemke. Had him at Milwaukee a couple years ago, and there's been a couple other road courses I've jumped in and helped Rayum at, like Caleb Costner's debut was there for that one.
Yeah, in
So,
Mid Ohio, I think.
mhm, correct.
Yep. And the trucks, I mean, this year, I believe you were one of the spotters for Cam Waters at Lime Rock, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, I had Cam Waters at Lime Rock, and then I had Matt Crafton at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, so, I mean, not many in NASCAR can say they've worked with a guy from Supercars, so, I mean, it's definitely got to be a high on the resume to be working with a guy
Hmm.
from Supercars, because, I mean, that's a big deal down over in Australia, New Zealand, so, I mean, you got so many guys that want to come over here, especially with Shane Van Gisbergen's success. Like you see guys like Will Brown, Cam Waters try to come over here as well. I mean, I think it's great to see some of these
Hmm.
guys like Brock Feeney as well. Like a lot of guys who want to run here in the States. I mean, I think it's absolutely amazing. And in general, though, like what else? Like I know you also have done PR for teams. Like what's it been like doing that as well?
It's been nice to be able to try to shed light on some of the stories that the major media at large probably doesn't cover. Like the ARCA website, they're very good about posting any notices that you send their way. That could be from Matt. Earlier this year, we did the announcement for him running Flat Rock in Berlin, and acknowledging the partners that made that happen. The Takuma's announcement of coming here from his longtime stomping grounds on the West Coast, coming out to the East Coast and running Daytona and a couple other events in his deal. But being able to try to be the voice for those drivers and try to guide them into a media landscape, trying to coax them into the right things to say in the media, because there's just not enough media training out there
There
for
isn't.
young racers, especially coming from local racing. The guy that can be bold and brash in his post race interview after he wins for the 10th week in a row, that guy is not necessarily prepared to be able to do the national media like ARCA
No.
and the Truck Series. He may be a fan favorite, but they're not going to give him as much time for that reason.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, but I mean, I remember like it just gets really special seeing some of these guys you've worked with get interviewed, like Takuma at Flat Rock. Like that was so special to see him just there, really excited, getting third place with how hard he's worked, and like same with guys like Zachary. I know he's been interviewed a few times. Like there's just so much that I think is just amazing. Like seeing some of the guys you've worked with be able to get trained for all this. Like it's just amazing. So I think now's a good time to transition into the probably the largest part of the show, the races this weekend. Which
Hmm.
John, you were there spotting in the ARCA race for Brad Smith and
Hmm.
in 48. But we'll start with the Cup race and go down the ladder, and then when we go to previewing New Hampshire, we go up the ladder again. Like we start top and bottom, then start bottom end. Like that's just kind of how the format usually goes. So Bristol night race. I mean, there's a lot of
Hmm.
questions on if maybe this was the race of the year. Like, I mean, I unfortunately I didn't get to watch it live because I was seeing a movie. But I did watch a replay of the race, and I can say that this was probably up there for a contender for potentially race of the year. Like, you got any thoughts on that, John?
I think the tire wear was a major part in making it a better show,
Absolutely.
making it a very very bottom dominant Bristol. This has been echoed by many people over in the Twitter sphere, many people in the industry as well. Being a bottom dominant racetrack definitely suits what we like to see out of Bristol. You had to shove guys
Yeah.
out of the way. The tire wear, in my opinion, might have been a little too much.
Yeah.
It did create a lot of chaos, but I would like it to be where the drivers don't have to do qualifying laps like what they used to do when the tire was as hard as a rock. But I also don't want them to be driving 50% and
Yeah. I get
holding
what
up
you
the
mean.
line.
Yeah. I
Um,
just,
it's
yeah.
it's not fun to the fan to watch a bunch of guys crawling around the bottom, and then you have a car that's on fresh tires just blow past everyone on the top. Um, I don't I don't know how that's going to be long term. I think if we can find a way to dial it back 10%, maybe get another 5 laps out of the tire, I think that's our sweet spot, though.
Yeah. But regardless of that, I think this still put on an amazing show for the fans, regardless, which I think that's what people have been asking for out of Bristol. Like, after, like, but even then, like, if we go through the results, we'll go through the results in a little bit here. Uh, I just think that it definitely is a contender for race of the year. I still don't understand, though, why the race poll got only like 80%. Like, that did not make sense to me at all.
Hmm.
I mean, Jeff Gluck ranted about it on the teardown where he was like, why are you all why is this 10%? Like, or like you'd expect this race to be at least 90%, but this is only 80. Like, there's that select
Hmm.
few that seem to just have that just seem to be miserable about everything in the sport now, unfortunately. But
There's a lot of that, especially in Twitter, which is
yep.
not the most scientific place to answer that, ask those questions.
Yeah, and for example, I'll shout them out now. In the Twisted Toe Lounge Discord server, they did the race poll, and their result came out at 95%. Yes. So, I think that that just shows you that like it depends on the environment. Like I think in terms of getting fan opinion, it's going to depend on the environment. Like I feel that you just have to I just feel that in correct ways to get the right perspective, you just have to go environment to environment because Twitter tends to be doomerland in
Hmm.
ways. But in other Discord servers, people are not going to be as upset about things. Like it's just something that, I wanted to think about. And about the tires, like this is what people want to see out of Bristol because I know there's people who also say that Bristol was ruined in 2007, even before the next gen made things worse at Bristol. Like there are people that say like for example, take the Xfinity race. Like we'll talk about in a little bit, but there were points where it was really hard to pass the leader, for example.
Hmm.
Like not just a cup problem, it also happened in Xfinity. Same with the truck race. Like Corey Heim, for example, he was stuck behind people. Took him a while to get by some people because Bristol just isn't as like people don't like it this way with Bristol, and you can kind of see why people might think this way. So like that's why I think because people were saying Jeff Burton and Dale Jr. I think both on their whenever they had a chance to speak, they said that this felt like old Bristol from the 90s and
Hmm.
2000 early 2000s. So like I just think that maybe in addition we may also want to reconfigure Bristol back to what it was before. Who knows?
Yeah, there's that old that school of thought as well. It did remind me a lot of growing up. I grew up in the Gen 4, end of the Gen 4 era. Started watching about 2004, so it definitely felt like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, with the tire wear, we also have to be careful that we don't have that every race because then the
Yeah.
fans are going to pivot 180 on it. I think if you have a race like this where it's just absolute chaos for tires a handful of times a year, and
Yeah.
then the other part is I also lived through Indy 2008,
Oh boy.
so uh when I see stuff like that where the tires are just shredding after 15 laps, I kind of get a little bit of I don't want to say PTSD, but a little bit of a flashback to that. There's a sweet spot. I think we're very close though.
Yeah.
If we can get something like this out of Bristol every time, I don't think we necessarily need to reconfigure it, but we do need to stop messing with PJ1 and with resin, which will
Yeah.
I'll talk about that briefly in the ARCA segment from my observations watching that race and spotting that race.
Yeah, and I think also, now I also want to share a little nugget that I think Tommy Baldwin said on Door Bumper Clear. He did hint as well, I think briefly, he said something, it's coming. He hinted they might be going to the short track package for Bristol maybe next year. Like he kind of hinted saying it's coming, so that might not be the only change we see with the tires. Like, I think they are going to try to keep this tire around for sure next year in this when we come
Mhm.
back in the spring. But from what Baldwin hinted, we might finally be going to the short track package. Which all I'm going to say is, teams, thank you for letting NASCAR change the car now. I know that's. Thank you. Like if that's actually true, because I know Jeff Gluck back in not May, April, sometime around there, got mad at the teams for not letting them do whatever they want at North Wilkesboro. But if they're going to let them change the short track package, thank you. Actually, thank you. I'm actually going to give you teams a plus here. Thank you. Like, just do it for Dover as well. Do the short track package for Dover
Mhm.
as well, and then things I think will be a lot better. For both of those tracks. And I had been kind of in support of this as well, but I kind of want them to do this tire at Dover but Dover is also a little more of a gray area because of what we've seen in ARCA, where the tires get in too bad of a shape at Dover. So I'm a little hesitant, even though they're safer barriers. I'm still a bit hesitant on doing this tire at Dover, even though I would love it. It's just because...
Yeah, no, I agree on Dover. If we had a little bit softer tire there, I think that would make for the old school Dover races. Uh, the best thing that happened to Dover was going down to 400 laps instead of 500. Which that was that was long races when that would happen. But going to the short track package is going to be huge too. And then
If
you
they
don't
do
necessarily have to. Well, if it happens, we're speaking speculatively here, but if it does happen, I think that's the best thing to happen anyways, as far as tire wear, because now you're sending so much more horsepower. You're talking about instead of what is it, 550 or 670, whatever it is.
670 it's 670, but apparently Dover's for the All-Star race is not one of... Now, Dover's the All-Star race next year, but if they bring this tire to Dover, I think it would still be... I think it still would be something that can redeem it, Dover, as the All-Star race if they bring this tire there, because as someone who goes to Dover every year, I am not a fan of them doing it as the All-Star race. I hope it's just a one-year thing and they make it a points race. Like, to me, it feels like a one-year deal because they needed something last minute to give North Wilkesboro its points race. So my hope is that Dover being the All-Star race is just 1 year, and then maybe they have something like Las Vegas be the All-Star race, or don't do Texas again, though. Please do not do that again.
No, that place needs a lot of help.
Yeah. Like, I just think Dover still can definitely be great no matter what. Like, it's just that I want it to be a points race again. I hope Speedway Motorsports does not kill it. Like, as some people think they're going to, which I personally don't think they're going to. My buddy, one of my buddies just got a job there as their new like director of communications. Colin Ward, awesome guy. So like, I think they still want to keep Dover up for a while if they're still making hires, like getting Colin involved. Oh, he's an awesome dude, by the way.
I'm sure I'll cross paths with him in the near future there.
Yeah.
I agree. Dover should be a points race. I understand making it the All-Star though. If this is part of a similar plan to the championship race where they're alternating this and other tracks in on a yearly basis, where 1 year it's a points event, the next year it's an All-Star, then it's on like a 3 or 4 year rotation.
Yeah.
You know, I think that could help if you make the All-Star race at all the different short tracks.
So I just kind of wanted to touch on that because Tommy Baldwin did hint that they might be going to the short track package next year. And if they do it for Bristol, I would assume they do it for Dover as well because both of those tracks race almost the same way, if you think about it. Well, kind of. Like, Dover, I felt, has been a lot better with the next gen than Bristol in general. In terms
And then
of
on top of that, the All-Star has always been a place for experimentation.
Yeah.
It was the first one that had stages. It was the first one that did the double file restart. It's always been a place to try new things out. So if there's a place that they're going to try that horsepower package at on a bigger track, Dover's the place to do it.
Yeah, I think so. And then I think now would be a good time to move to going down drivers of this race and kind of see how they all lined it up. I mean, Christopher Bell ends up taking the victory, finally gets a win, first time since Phoenix in the spring. So, like, really glad that the bells ring again. And our normal co-host, Brody, was able to celebrate because he's a Bell guy, so I'm happy for him. But I feel bad as though for all the Brad Keselowski fans because he almost had it. I think if he restarted on the bottom, he would have gotten it. Like, he would have gotten it had he restarted on the bottom. So, like, but, you know, that bump there, I mean, he tried, but it's a lot harder to do in this car. But, like, it's a lot harder to do in this car, but, you know, he gave it a shot. And even then, Brad's not a guy that's going to wreck you on purpose. Like he may bump you, but Brad's not a guy who's going to, like, Brad is far from his 2014 arc Like, he's going to be a lot different on the track now. So I do appreciate that Brad didn't try to junk him or put him in the wall. Just tried to give him a tap to get around him. And then Zane Smith, what a run for him. Like, it's not been a good year for Front Row. Gets a third place run. That's the underdog of the race, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing so many of these guys that had such great runs, like a Corey Heim, 6th. Like, that's awesome. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I think it's time to put him in the 35. Now that you think about it, I mean, I saw a stat that he's got two top 10s or 2 top 15s already.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them this year in the 67. Like,
yeah, Heim is definitely a talent. It's just the whole charter thing is the biggest part of it. I know Riley's under contract. Obviously, Bubba and Tyler Reddick are both under contract. So
all of them are through next year.
Yeah, and where's the room at the end? You know, if you're only allowed 3 charters, you can run a 4th car unchartered, but it's really not economically viable to do it on a full-time basis. In theory, you could.
We've seen it done before, but it's only economically feasible really for 1 year. I mean, sponsorship can pay for it. Like Kroger was able to get Priest through a year, and I mean, we've seen Blaney do a full year unchartered when he was in the 21. I mean, and I know Brad Keselowski did mention that they would have run the 60 unchartered if they did not get a charter for Priest, because Kroger is bringing a lot of money to that deal. So,
yes.
like, it's just that, you know, it may only work for a year. It can be done, but at most it only would work for a year, because the 37 shut down after that.
Yeah, correct. It's just the business model of the sport is so darn expensive, and the difference in payout from a chartered team to an unchartered team is so great. It's like you said, only feasible with a really big and valuable sponsor, one that's willing to pony up the entire expense for a season. But once again, goes back to the whole charter and contract thing. If your contract stipulates that you have to be in a chartered entry, which I'm sure Priest's contract was just to drive the 60, not necessarily drive in a chartered entry.
Yeah.
It's all how the contract and the lawyers that get involved on it write out the contracts.
Yeah, I know it's how Reddick's contract was written. I think it was also written in. It may have also been written. I think it was mentioned in hearings that it was written in Todd Gilliland and Ragson's contracts. I don't know if it was written in Zane Smith's contract, because that was like a last-minute contract, if I'm not mistaken. And then it might have been in Bubba's and Riley's as well. So, like, I know they keep bringing up Tyler Reddick in the hearings, but everyone except for Zane, I think, has the same thing. And then going down,
it's definitely part of the fun equation with all the hearings at the moment. Like you said, Reddick's probably the biggest fish out of that entire group in terms of just what you can get out of a race car.
Yeah. And then going down the list of drivers, Carson Hocevar, who finished 7th. I mean, I thought he or Zane were going to have a shot at it, but again, everyone's on different tire wear. Like, Hocevar also tweeted, this was finally the first time that when I got screwed out of winning, I didn't end up, like, DNFing or going many laps down. So, like, but again, like, you know, that first win for him is going to be coming, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get that first win. It may not happen this year, but I think it can definitely happen next year with the rate things are going.
It feels like how it was in the Truck Series, like how close he was over and over and over again. And then when he finally won, he won a bunch. I feel like that's what's going to happen there. It's just getting ready to crest that dam, so to speak. Like, we're about there.
Yep, and then going through some of the other guys, there were, like, the Toyotas have really been on a tear, like, in the playoffs. Like, the Toyotas are the manufacturer to beat, because especially Joe Gibbs Racing, because they went 1-2-3 in this round, and with how good Christopher Bell is at New Hampshire, they could easily go 1-2-3-4. So, like, like Chase Briscoe leads 127 laps, Ty Gibbs leads 201, which that was amazing. But unfortunately, he didn't end up getting the win because, I mean, Ty Gibbs, he's come close so many times, just can't get it done. I mean, I hope he get, and Ty Gibbs is one of the best guys when it comes to saving tires as well, because like when this race happened, when we had the same tire wear thing happen in the spring last year, he was like the best guy at it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel bad for Ty at the same time because he was doing a really great job, and then going through some of the other finishers that we had, um, like Justin Haley, John Hunter Nemechek, they had good runs. John Hunter Nemechek, he's been on a tear lately, got 14th, and then scroll. Both legacy cars got top 20 again. That's really nice for that team, especially compared to last year. And then I scroll down through some of the other finishers, like Stenhouse, 22nd, Gregson, Todd Gilliland, Austin Hill, Shane Van Gisbergen. So there were also, I know there was a lot of talk about this incident, and then AJ Allmendinger got the fastest lap. There was a lot of talk over that incident with Chase Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
Not really sure what to make out of it. I mean, I feel like it personally was just a racing incident.
Yeah, it was nothing was intentional there. From behind, things are happening so fast at Bristol. From the spotter's perspective here, just to give you an idea, when I'm calling my driver clear, I always try to tell them by how much, so that they can make the decision for themselves if they're going to stick it into the hole that they need to. In that situation, I wasn't listening to the scanner, so I'm not sure what was said, but I'm sure the spotter was communicating that small hole behind. I think was it the 42,
I think you're right.
whatever car it was that had the small 1.5 car gap behind it. If you do not judge that properly and you do not have enough momentum, you are going to get run over. And I feel like that's what happened here.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think you're
like
right.
like I said, I don't think it's anybody doing anything wrong. Car behind Chase obviously tries to check up. I do think there was contact first before Denny got into the back of the other car. Because I know Denny was the third one in that ricochet. But
Yeah,
at that point, it's just energy getting transferred through all the cars.
yeah, and
There's nothing that Chase can really do in that situation.
it was also announced today that two of Denny's crew members were also suspended for a week, I believe, in wake of the tire getting loose. I'm pretty sure. So,
Yes.
and then Kyle Larson. I mean, he ended up finishing laps down, but like compared to the domination he had in the last two races at Bristol, he led nothing.
Hmm.
Zero. Zero compared to the domination he had. So, like, I imagine he was the one who didn't like this tire wear race compared to dominating and just being the best car with rock hard tires.
Hmm.
But yeah,
That
I
just
mean,
goes more to the struggles that the 5 team has had since May too. I mean, where have they been? You know, they've been floundering in that.
yeah,
Not
they
saying
haven't.
10th place is bad, but like 10th to 20th place range, it feels like all the time. Every time I'm looking up at the running order, it's like, where's Kyle Larson at? And it's
Yeah,
always that 10th to 20th range. And for what it's worth, there's 20, 25 very competitive race cars in the Cup field every week. But to be in the bottom half of that for a team like that
Hendrick.
has been as dominant as they've been in the past, it's they've got to get out of their sleep here in the next couple races if they want to get to the round of 8 and into the championship 4.
Yeah, and in terms of who's been eliminated, the eliminations are Austin Dillon, Shane Van Gisbergen, uh, Josh Berry, and Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman was in a must win. Unfortunately, he was not able to do that despite finishing eighth. So Alex Bowman does not advance to the next round. I got 3 out of 4 of my picks correct when I predicted this with Jack on air. I predicted that the other 3 were not going to advance. I had Cindric out instead of of Alex Bowman. I had Alex Bowman going to the round of 12, but
Mhm.
in terms of that prediction, that is now what we are dealing with. So, Josh Berry, I mean, I think is this the worst? This has got to be the worst round of 16 performance we've ever seen.
Oh, it's got to be. Well, I
Because no
know
one
a
has
couple of
ever.
years ago.
Has anyone ever
Couple,
finished last in 3 straight races in the playoffs?
well, probably not. I would be shocked if that had been the case somewhere. But yeah, that has got to be the worst round anybody's ever had in playoff history.
Yeah. So I'm now trying to think about, who, and now we're going into the round of 12. Like, I'm
Mhm.
kind of trying to think of who is going to make it or not. Like, I figured we do this now instead of at the end of the show. I'm thinking that, so personally, as for who's out after the round of 12, I'm going to go with Cindric, Logano, Chastain, and Bubba. I'm going to predict that those 4 are not going to make it. Who do you got not
Bubba's is
making it?
Bubba's the bold one there. I think he's going to make it to the round of 8. But as I look at the playoff grid here, and I just go back looking through everybody here, Chastain, I can definitely see them missing. I can see, honestly, I could see Chase having a rough round here.
Chase Elliott?
Just because out of all the playoff cars, they haven't been the standout ones. He was middle of the row of the playoff guys based on points from some graphic I had seen. Cindric, I feel like, is going to be out, and I could see there being a shock one like Briscoe potentially. Out of all the Gibbs cars, like yeah, he runs well, but if something's going to snake bite somebody, it always seems to snake bite Chase Briscoe.
Yeah. But going through all the guys who, but like, I feel Denny, Byron, Larson, Bell, I feel all, and I mean, considering Christopher Bell's like the king of New Hampshire now,
Mhm.
I personally feel he's going to make it through. I mean, Larson, I feel, even though he hasn't really been the best, I feel he'll still be able to squeeze in, considering the Roval, which he's very good at, is at the
Mhm.
end of the round. Byron, I mean, I feel he's just too consistent because he made the Final Four in 2023 and last year. Like Hamlin, I feel he always says it's his year, but when's the last time he hasn't made the round of 8? Like I feel like he makes the
A-
round of 8 every year.
And with all the playoff points he's got, granted that happened with Shane Van Gisbergen as well, but with all the playoff points he's got, he's just too consistent everywhere else.
Yeah,
I feel like Hamlin's just about as much of a lock as you can get. Reddick, I'm a little bit concerned for them because he has not been as strong as the other Toyotas through this
I
playoff.
feel Reddick. I feel in terms of the last guys to get in, I think Reddick and Chase Elliott are going to be the last 2 to
Hmm.
get in, and both I'm going to say are actually going to just barely make it over Bubba. Like I feel personally, Logano, Cindric, and Chastain are out for sure in my opinion, along with
Hmm.
Bubba. Like the reason I say Logano is just because he just has not had the speed in the playoffs this year compared to last year when he came out swinging in the playoffs. Like he didn't win in the round of 16 this year. Like, and I mean, he would have been out in the round of 12 last year had Alex Bowman not been disqualified for the ballast coming off. Like Joey Logano, I feel just has not been like as good as last year. So
Hmm.
like I just feel that, and with these tracks, like it's New Hampshire, like which I believe is which is definitely personally Christopher Bell's hotspot. Like I know it was mentioned Logano was flying in tire testing at New Hampshire, but those tires aren't gonna last forever. Like I mean, like and I mean, what else we got? Is it Vegas? No, Kansas. Kansas.
Kansas.
Like Logano was not good at the spring in the spring race at all at Kansas, and so like, and then the Roval. I mean, he's not really the best at the Roval either. So like, I'm sorry, I don't think we're getting a repeat. We're not getting a repeat title defense here. And then Chastain, I mean, I know he won Kansas last year, but I just don't see it. But I think now would be a good time to move on to Xfinity.
Mhm.
So in terms of Xfinity, I mean, Aric Almirola wins the race. And here's a stat that I got that I'll pull out here. This is the first win for Toyota in Xfinity since Darlington in April. To give you a perspective how long that is long. That's all I'll just say. Yeah, that is long. But it has been since Darlington in April when we last seen a Toyota win an Xfinity. Like, so like very unbelievable. But it came at the cost of Sheldon Creed getting a 15th second place finish. Like, is he ever gonna get a win?
You know, it might happen. It might happen one day.
It could, but like,
We've been saying that for years. Sheldon's a good driver, and you know, watching him come up through ARCA, and he's always seemed to have not the best equipment, but like just a tick under the best equipment, and he's a good enough driver to compete with it. But it doesn't seem like anything ever breaks his way the way
no.
it needs to. It's always a caution doesn't come out at the right time, or you just have a generational run like you've had with Zilisch this year.
Yeah.
For example, like what are you going to do on the road courses? I mean, if you're second best road course guy, and then Zilisch shows up, it's like, okay, well now I'm down to third.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, and even then, like, I feel he has had an off year compared to last year. Like, I feel that Haas Factory, Sam Mayer has been really good this year, but Sheldon, I feel, has kind of had a bit of an off year this year. Like, not as good as last year, Joe Gibbs. I mean, it could also just be adjusting to could have just be adjusting to Ford because he's never driven a Ford, but he'll be going back to a Chevy next year, so maybe he'll have a boost there. I just don't know how much support Haas Factory team is going to get because they're going from the number one supported Ford team in Xfinity to probably third best, most supported ship, second or third most supported, third if I had to guess, because I doubt that RCR and JRM would go down a lot. Well, actually, it might be four if the Hendrick car goes full time in Xfinity, because there's been a lot of talk of Corey Day going full time in Xfinity. So like, it's just a heated thing to think about with Sheldon Creed. I hope he gets a win. I mean, I want him to break that curse. I mean, it's just that I don't know. Like, what's got to go his way? Like, something's got to go his way.
the other part you got to remember with Haas is that who are they going to be aligned with for technical alliance? Is it going to be a tier 3 situation where they're by themselves, or are they aligned with Hendrick? Every indication I've seen and heard is that they're going to be Hendrick affiliated.
Yeah,
so
they are getting Hendrick engines. It's just that it's a matter of, yeah, I know they are getting Hendrick engines. It's just a matter of how much other support are they going to get, because Jeremy Clements Racing, they get Hendrick engines all year. Like, but I'm pretty sure. It's just that, like, they get Hendrick engines all year. It's just that, you know, what is it going to be like adjusting? Because, you know, they're going back to Chevy, and I mean, we've seen teams going to a new manufacturer slump at first. Like we saw with Legacy Motor Club last year in Cup with Toyota. Like, they did not have a good year. Year two, a lot better. They've been great. So it's just something to think about, I think. And while Connor Zilisch's streak does end at 4 wins in a row, he still has a streak of, I think, 15 straight top fives. Which I think it's something like that.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous like that. He has had, I mentioned it earlier, an absolutely generational run this season, and it would be a shame with the way the playoffs are structured if he did not win the championship. But if it was a standard setup, he would be running away with this thing by now.
I do think, though, I personally, though, knowing Zilisch, I feel he's going to get it done at Phoenix, knowing him. Like, unless something really bad happens, I do not see Zilisch losing Phoenix. Like, and then Harrison Burton, I mean, he got 7th. Like, I want to shout that out because, like, I know they were the last guy to make the playoffs, but AM Racing, they're a very different animal compared to last year with Haley Deegan. But like Harrison Burton, like he's been incredible for what AM is capable for AM racing, and like they made the playoffs, and with that seventh, I mean, he's got a shot to make the round of 8, which I think most of us didn't think he'd make.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think with the momentum he had at Bristol, he's got a good shot to make the round of 8. And then some of the other underdogs, Jeremy Clements in 9th, Brennan Poole top 10. Brennan Poole, I know there's been a lot of talk he might be back in the 44 next year, but I would love to see Poole in a top car, because he would be winning races for sure at his current state. And Jeremy Clements, amazing run for that team. Like, there's a reason I've been rooting for Jeremy Clements, because he's one of the few owner drivers left in the Xfinity series. That's what I love so much about Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and they've had a fantastic year over at Jeremy's in terms of just being able to have speed and put themselves in the right position. A lot of that, I got to give a lot of credit to my buddy Case Kallenbach, who
awesome
is crew
guy.
chief over there. He is awesome, and they've brought a different edge to them this year. They're more willing to take chances late in races on, they're running 15th. Let's go put 4 on, and let's go sneak our way into the top 10. But they've done a really good job with the stuff they've got, and running out of South Carolina instead of up in the Mooresville area where most of the other teams are. That's another credit to them. They're 2 hours out of the way of everybody else. So, but yeah, the Clements team, that's got to be the underdog of the year there. Alpha Prime showing strength as well is very nice to see out of that organization.
And Jeremy Clements, I mean, they got a new car chief as well this year, and Gabe Wood, another awesome dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gabe's an awesome dude as well. So they got a good team over there of people who really know how to get things done. And I'm glad that they're helping get that 51 in great shape, because I know the 51 team has kind of fallen off compared to past years, like where they would be like top 15 or even make the playoffs on points. I think in 2021 they did. It's just that I think this year has been a step in the right direction for them, for sure. And I mean, some of the other runs, like Retzlaff in the 16th, that's a double top 20 for Alpha Prime. Like, I mean, I was a bit very interesting runs out of some of these guys. Like Butterbean, I mean, I know he finished 20th, but it's his first ever time in Xfinity car. Like, I wasn't really expecting him to go out and win the damn thing, but like, he did what he needed to do for his Xfinity debut, and I mean, I feel that him running the 11 just gives a bit of a hint at what we could see next year in the trucks.
If all the rumors are true, I'm kind of expecting him to be over in the truck series. I don't really expect him to be back in ARCA at the very minimum. All signs are pointing to him going up, whether that be with a Chevy affiliated team, whether it be with Colleague. And for what it's worth, getting a 20th place run with how Colleague has been this year, how up and down they are, that's really about all you can ask out of that car in your debut.
Yeah. And Eckes has started to finally pick up pace a lot recently. He got 2 consecutive top 10s, I think. Mm-hmm. So like, actually maybe 3. I'm not sure where he finished at Portland, but Eckes has started to pick things up. So like, I think the Colleague Xfinity program is starting to get itself back together. Now, what is it going to look like next year? I don't know. I mean, I hope they keep Eckes around, because I think he really deserves to have a great sophomore year, because, I mean, he was the best guy in the truck series last year. Like, I feel really bad for him this year. Like, I want him to get another shot. Like, and then, I mean, going through some of the other finishes, like, there were some interesting guys that were in here. Jeffrey Earnhardt in his final start of the year. Josh Bilicki, Logan Bearden, nice to see him back. He's a great guy. Austin Green back at 31st. But, Austin, I mean, we're going to see him at Kansas as well. They just announced that he's going to run Kansas as well. So I hope he can have a great run there. I mean, a lot of storylines throughout the field. I mean, so like just something that, I wanted to kind of shout out, because there's a lot of storylines throughout that Xfinity field. And then in the truck series, I mean, we had it ended up being Lane Riggs winning. I mean, in my opinion, I think this title in trucks is down to Lane Riggs or Corey Heim at this point. And I mean, if Lane Riggs won it, as great as Corey Heim has been, I wouldn't really be that upset if Lane Riggs won the title compared to someone else, because I feel Lane Riggs, in my opinion, is the only other guy who would deserve winning the title right now.
Yeah, Lane appears to be the second best guy in the truck series. I think anybody but Corey Heim winning the championship this year is a disappointment. If we're totally honest, just with how well that truck has been, and that combination of Tricon, Toyota, Corey Heim has been. But if anybody seems to be able to beat them, it seems to be Riggs. That's for sure.
Which, I mean, as I said, I wouldn't really be as upset with, even though the 11 has been the best truck. It's just that, the 34 has been able to compete with Heim a lot more recently.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I would rather see Corey Heim win the championship under legitimacy, but, I feel if someone else had to, I would rather it be Lane Riggs. Which, I personally think Heim's going to get the title with just how good he's been this year, but if someone else is going to, I feel it'd be Lane Riggs, but again, next year, just seeing how the truck field is, I feel Lane Riggs is going to be the guy to beat in trucks for sure next year. So,
yeah.
And then, we'll go through some of the other finishers here. Not a whole lot of underdogs, though, in the field, although there was an incident on the last lap, I think it was. It was on the last lap. Bailey Curry was en route to a top 10 finish. I don't remember who it was. I think it was it the 77?
I think it might have been the 77.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fox did not show it, but I believe it was the 77 that got into Bailey Curry and spun him out based on a tweet that Bailey sent where he said something about stacking pennies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was that. And then, there were some other guys that, it was nice to see running, like Cole Butcher from Canada. It was nice to see him in the field. Like Stephen Parsons, like some of these guys that, are great guys. I feel bad for Jake Garcia, though, because he had a shot at winning the race. He was battling for the win, in the stages, and then something went wrong. I feel bad. He had the fastest lap, too.
Mm-hmm. That just seems to be the curse, isn't it? You get the fastest lap, and then something bad happens to ruin your whole day.
Yeah, it seems to be something unfortunate. I was really happy to see Trayden Lapcevich in the trucks as well. He's very deserving of it. Just kind of sad that he wasn't able to have such a good day. I hope he gets another shot in that 02 truck at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Or just in a truck in general, because Trayden, he and Caden Lapcevich are some of the greatest talents out there from Canada. He and his brother. So I just want to shout them out. So as I said, there wasn't really a whole lot to talk about in the truck race just because it was very straightforward. It wasn't a bad race. It's just that, everything just happened everything just happened in an instant. So just something, to think about. But now I think we'll move on to the ARCA race at Bristol, which John, you were spotting in that race, so you definitely were able to say a lot about that. But
very much so.
Yeah, but in general, though, we had and I know on Door Bumper Clear they were very vocal about how they felt about it.
Well, when are they not?
when are they not?
Well, when are they not? It's ARCA. Of course, they're going to try to criticize it.
Yeah, they're owned by the Cars Tour people. So Door Bumper Clear is owned by Dale Jr., who co-owns the Cars Tour. So yeah, but in general, though, in terms of the race, it wasn't a bad race. It ended up, I think, being a big improvement over last year. There weren't too many cautions.
No, most part, everybody was able to behave themselves and not be menaces to society, but you still had a couple that were out there that definitely made it a interesting event, to say the least.
Yep, and amongst the finishers, we had Brent Cruz, who led all 204 laps because we went to ARCA overtime rules. It was interesting. I did not cover this on last week's episode because the change was made after last week's episode. But Leland Honeyman being in the 20 was a massive surprise, because that means that Lawless Alan, which was confirmed in ARCA with Mark Bristol yesterday, has parted ways with Venerini Motorsports. Massive surprise.
Yeah, that's the kid that rents a room in my house. He works on the Venerini 20 car. That shocked them when they got that news on Tuesday. They were not aware of it. So that happening, does the interiors and stuff. So that's quite the surprise for
While
everybody
they were doing
involved.
the interiors of the car, they found out he was out.
They've already got set cars for the driver throughout the year.
You were saying
he had driven the car already.
Bit.
Oh, sorry. But they have the interior set already to what Lawless wanted. So when they got the news Tuesday, they had to go get a different seat and mount it up. That was quite the adventure from everything I've been told.
That was a massive surprise. And it was interesting as well seeing guys like Tristan McKee in the field in the 82. I mean, he was having a great run. Thomas Annunziata, he had a great run as well in the 70. Like Honeyman, I mean, and we know Honeyman, he's going to be back for this week at Salem and Kansas, and I believe the ARCA West race at Phoenix. And, I mean, you had other guys like Tyler Reif having good runs. But the champion of the E-Series ended up going to Isaac Kitzmiller, who I believe is now the youngest E-Series champion in history, I want to say, at 15. So congratulations to Isaac on that. Just hope, and I mean, both of the Kitzmiller cars had a great run. I mean, Jason, both of them, double top 10 for Kitzmiller, for both Isaac and Jason. So really glad for them. It was nice seeing guys like Jake Finch and Patrick Staropoli back. They're also great guys as well. You also had, but we had only 10 cars finish on the lead lap out of the field of 34. Just something to kind of also think about. But I mean, you had guys like LeVar Scott, Laney Buice, Andrew Patterson, Andy Jakoyak, Carson Ware, like all these guys out there, like Tim Richmond, Cletus, like Tony Costantino. I feel the most bad though for Timmy Hill, because he was on track to get a top 5, and then unfortunately tire went down and bam, it was such a hard hit. I'm just thankful that Timmy's okay after that.
The best part about that is that he was already pretty high up on the racetrack, so it was a lot better than it could have been. If he was all the way on the bottom, that would have been a one that knocks out your fillings, as they say. So I'm glad that it wasn't worse than what it was, but you got to feel bad for Timmy coming in to the season having such high hopes. Realistically, he was going to be the odds-on favorite for the championship before the season really got rolling. And then he had the Rockingham crash, and that went off the rails. But that's second major tire failure and hard hit that he's had this season.
But thankfully, that was his last race for the year, so it does not hinder the rest of his plans for the year. And hopefully, and he has another ARCA car. He has two. He bought a second ARCA car, to my understanding, so he should be in better shape for 2026. I'm pretty sure, if he continues to run an ARCA, of course, that is. But amongst some of the other guys, like, I mean, in terms of the slow guys out there, these guys, though, like, they were getting out of the way. Like, Alex, Brad, and Austin, like, Austin Vaughn, like, I feel like the three of them, even though they were slow, like, they got out of the way. I didn't really view them as a problem on the track. I mean, I got a lot of complaints about the 34, for example, from people.
There's definitely something to be said about being slow, but there's something else to be said about being slow and in the way. If you were having a hard time hitting your line, which, to touch on the point I was talking about earlier with PJ1 and resin, if you did not have your left side tires in that resin at the right point on entry, you were shooting straight up the track. So I don't know if it was his line, I wasn't able to watch him. Obviously, I was keeping Brad safe the whole race, but I don't know if it was just missing the line. I don't know if he just didn't have enough grip or if the car was tight. but he would have a tendency to wash up in the center of the corner, sometimes even before the center of the corner. Could be the car, could be an experience, could be any number of things. But for the most part, when he was able to his entries up, he was able to make it a lot easier on everybody at the expense of slowing everybody else down quite a bit.
Yeah, referring to Brad. Yeah.
Yeah, with Brad, Alex, and Austin in the 67,
Brayton
we
as
were
well.
nice.
I do want to include him in there because he knew how to not get in the way of people.
Yeah, Brayton's very good at that. He's very good at holding his line when traffic is coming. But for the most part, Brayton was ahead of us until about that halfway through that second group when his car started to go away. But when he was with us in that second group, it was the same thing. He would get trapped behind the 34, and we'd have all the lead lap cars barreling around us. We just had to hold our line, find our hole to get out of there, basically.
Some very interesting sponsorships we saw in the 0 and the 34 as well. Like, I don't know where that came from, but it got the attention of Alex Palou.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that was don't know where that came from. Don't know if any money was exchanged, but that certainly was interesting to see.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Tough break for some other guys in the field, like Logan Misaraka, who she was going to have a good run, I think, this time at Rev, but unfortunately she had I think a mechanical issue, and then Jackson McLaren, I mean, he was doing decent out there as well. He had I think also a mechanical problem, and Isabella Robusto, her luck it just has not been good for her either, unfortunately. I really wish it could get better for her because Isabella really deserves great runs. And tough break for guys like Zachary Tinkle, who had a mechanical issue as well, because even though he finished third in the ARCA East standings, he still want to end on a high note. So I felt really bad. And as well for Tacoma Koga, I think that crash also dropped him to 5th in points, right?
I didn't look at the final standings, to be honest with you, but I think it did.
Yeah,
it was pretty close.
Yeah, because it ended up being Kitzmiller, Tyler Reif, Tinkle. I think Austin Vaughn took 4th, and then Koga, I think 5th. But I mean, Austin Vaughn, I mean, he had a great year as well. I mean, I know he's in one of the smallest teams in the field, but he did great for the equipment he had. And I mean, he's a young talent, so like, I really want to see what he could do in great stuff because I think he would really do amazing in top equipment in ARCA Austin, that is. And a tough break for Bobby Dale Earnhardt because he was actually running decent for the 31s for what the 31 is capable of. Like he was almost faster than the 95, and I think almost all the fast track cars in practice. So like Bobby Earnhardt, I mean, he was doing great for his return to ARCA. It's been since I think 2017 since we've last seen him in ARCA. So like, I thought it was really great to see. And I mean, it's great to see an Earnhardt in the field because it gave Rise a lot of publicity for an Earnhardt being in the field. And I know it didn't go well for him. I mean, that paint scheme also kind of reminded me of those Austin Dillon 2 schemes, the Ream schemes that Austin Dillon ran in Xfinity from like 2017. Like 2016, 2017, it heavily reminded me of those Ream schemes that the ones that Earnhardt was driving. And I mean, it was really nice to just see an Earnhardt in the field. I mean, there's now a bunch of people who can say they've raced against an Earnhardt. So, I mean, something to have on your resume as well. But unfortunately, it didn't go the best for him. But we will see him again at Kansas. So I hope he gets another shot there. And he's raced at Kansas before in both ARCA and the Xfinity Series. So I think this could easily be a better race for him, for Bobby Dale Earnhardt there. And then Josh White, now ARCA only parked him, even though people were saying, why aren't they parking like the 34, the 0, like all these other guys? But he was like, but the minimum speed I think was like at least 20-second laps. I think it was 20-second laps. He wasn't making that at all. And let's just say there's a lot of drama going on with that. I'd rather not talk about it on here. There's also
Yeah, there's a lot to be aired out there, and I'll just say if you are someone that loves drama, go look up Club Racing, go look up Josh White, and go look up Alex Club over on Facebook, and
Yeah,
you will have hours of enjoyment.
yeah. If you want to go see all of that, you may as well go to Facebook. I'm not going to talk about it on here, but I will mention that it is pretty funny.
There's a lot of low shots being thrown there. It is if like I said, if you're a connoisseur of internet cringe, it is the best for that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's a
Like
good
in,
podcast clip you can throw right there.
I mean, sometimes I tell Alex that I mention how I sometimes mention how the team's running because just because I mean Alex. I mean even then Alex is an awesome dude though. Regardless, it's just that this whole deal was something. I'd rather not talk. I think now would be a good time to briefly move it that we got through. So the win in at All American went to Robbie Keneally, first career win, and it was so special because for Robbie he was coming up. He and his brother Joey are coming up on the 1 year anniversary of their father passing away. So I think that this was really special to see Robbie Keneally getting the victory done in at All American, which All American usually is one of the greatest short tracks out west in terms of racing. And I mean, I'm just glad that Robbie was able to get it done because this win was so special to him and his family and all of Jan's Towing Racing. So I just want to commemorate that. And I mean, some other guy, and I mean, it ended up being a good race from what I was able to catch in West. Like, and I mean, it was nice to see guys like Joey East back in the field, who we haven't seen in a while. I mean, unfortunately, they had only 14 cars, but hopefully the car counts can get better out west. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the ARCA West side of things. I think, and then I mean, you had the other series like Donald Teague winning in Canada. I mean, you had Cars Tour at South Boston. South Boston should be a track we should have in the Truck Series, in my opinion. Also, ARCA East. I feel those would be good fits there. And then I mean, you look at, I mean, the Smart Tour I think was at Dominion. Like, so I mean, there was a lot of racing going on this weekend. It was a big weekend for racing down south. And I think now would be a good time. And as I mentioned, we go from bottom to top. We're going to start from ARCA and go up to Cup. So we're going to start with ARCA at Salem. There are 21 cars entered for ARCA at Salem. I believe you are spotting a different car this week, though, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's correct. This week I'm on the 67 with Ryan Vargas.
Yep. So amongst the entrants, and when we go through the entrants, I only usually talk about the different entrants, not usually the full-time entrants. And this goes for all series. So you're not going to see me talk about the Cup entry list because there's only 36 cars. So amongst the ARCA entry lists, we have Matt Kemp in the 9, Ed Pompa in the 10. That'll be a full race deal. I believe this is his last start of the year planned for Ed. Tony Cosentino in the 11. Tony, I mean, I believe that's going to be a full race deal as well because, I mean, Tony's been running mostly full races this year. And, I mean, he's been making the most out of it. Like, he's been doing an incredible job. And Mike Basham, love to see Mike Basham. This is going to be his 100th start in the ARCA Menard Series. So we have two Bashams with over 100 starts. Daryl Basham had over 300 starts under his name. Max Reeves in the 18, the Cookout car. Leland Honeyman, the 20. Mason Mitchell in the 25. Chase Howard in the 31 for Rise Motorsports. He had an incredible run at DuQuoin. I think with Salem, I hope it goes great as well. Ryan Vargas at 67 as well. I mean, Ryan, he just concluded his part-time deal in the Canada Series, which was pretty successful. I hope here with Maples it ends up going even better. Will Kimmel in the 69. That might be a win contender. Andrew Patterson in the 70, not driving his own car this week. He is in the 70 for Nitro Motorsports. Alex Club is in the 86. I'm guessing that's for the rest of the year because I also noticed they swapped the owner points of the 86 and the 03 because now I'll get to the other car in a second. Connor Popplewell in the 95. That's nice to see him coming back because he's run locally at Salem for quite a few years and has a bunch of wins and weekly racing at Salem. And Connor, I mean, he finished top 5 in his debut here in 2023, so I'm really hoping that the main motorsports team can have a great run here. And then Chris Golden in the 03. Nice to see Chris back again. And but yeah, I mean Salem to me has always been a fun track. Like the way I view Salem, it's like another version of Bristol for ARCA. But some also interpret it, as Will Kimmel has interpreted it, as mini Charlotte.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of both. In a way, Bristol copied what Salem was doing before, because if I'm not mistaken, Salem is older than Bristol.
Salem is older.
So yeah, it's more. Can I copy your homework? That meme is what's happening there. But I do think Salem is a place that every major driver should run at some point, because that really tells you who the drivers are. There's not saying that some drivers aren't less talented or anything, but if you can go run well at Salem, with how physical and how demanding that place is and how rough turns 1 and 2 are, it surely shows how talented and how good of a driver you are if you can go tackle Salem.
Yeah, I think Salem in general to me is a driver's track. I mean in ways, Salem is one of the fastest tracks we go to, even like in the ARCA Menard series. Like Salem, because of how banked the corners are, like this is one of the fastest. Like it's up there with the 1.5 miles in terms of speed. So like this is one of the fastest tracks we go to in ARCA. I mean, I still wish we'd be going to Winchester, because then we'd have another version of Dover in ARCA with Winchester, because the speeds are even faster at Winchester, which, I mean, it's like Dover on steroids at Winchester. So like, but yeah, I mean with Salem, I mean Salem's a driver's track, which is why in terms of the winner, I personally am not going to automatically give it to the 18 or the 28. I feel Butterbean though. I feel this is a better track for Butterbean, because Salem's a driver's track, and in general, like I feel that Butterbean's going to have more of an advantage here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Butterbean and realistically that whole PRG group, they've got a leg up at a place like that because they've been here before as well. I think Butterbean's done a late model race at Salem. I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
I can't say 100% for sure, but if he has, then he's at least seen the place before. Max, on the other hand, young driver, very fast but very aggressive, and I don't know if that's going to benefit him here, because you get over the bumps the wrong way, it's going to be a hard day for you.
Yeah, I think he has run Winchester in late models. I could be wrong. So maybe he does have some experience here. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think he has. I'm not going to count out Will Kimmel, though, because, I mean, that win's got to come at some point for Will. I mean, he's been fighting for it for so long. I hope he finally gets it this time. And, I mean, he's bringing a hot rod. He's bringing a really fast car this week. And, I mean, I wouldn't count out guys like Leland Honeyman. I mean, because Leland, I think, has a really great shot. And I mean, there's some underdogs that, could maybe have a great run, like Andrew Patterson being in a nitro car, or nitro/Venerini, because they're pretty much the same thing now. And then, like, maybe Connor Popplewell could get another underdog run. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think with all the wins he's gotten at Salem and, like, street stocks, I think it is, maybe he could have another underdog run. So I think now we'll move on to the New Hampshire side of things. So we'll start with the Whelen Modified Tour here. Nice to see them at New Hampshire. If you haven't watched the races at New Hampshire for the Whelen Modified Tour, they race like a super speedway race, like a plate race there. Unfortunately, they have only 27 cars, and I know they usually get over 30. They usually get a massive field for for the Whelen Modified Tour in New Hampshire. They have only 27 cars there. Although I did see on the entry list, Doug Hobie is making his return to the Whelen Modified Tour. So that is still very nice to see. We have not seen Doug make a start this year, even in the Whelen Modified Tour. I believe 6-time champion of the series is now finally making his return. And then, I mean,
Hey,
you look at... Wait, say that again?
oh, I was gonna say coming back for the Daytona of your series is definitely the way to do it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some other notables, though, in the field. Like, I mean, there's some guys pulling double duty, like Patrick Emmerling is pulling double duty. I mean, although he is full-time in that series as well, which is why he does not run full-time in Xfinity. I mean, in addition, I believe Mike Christopher Jr. is also pulling double duty. Some other notables in that race, like John McKennedy, who's the former champion of the series, so nice to see him coming back. So there are still some notables, and also Andy Seiss, who co-owns Class Motorsports with Kevin Lapierre. Kind of wanted to shout that out. So nice to see Andy back. I mean, Andy Seiss, I mean, he's run here in the Cup Series before, too. So that's a great story to mention in the field. But yeah, Andy, nice to see him back. And then I think it would be good to move on to the truck entry list. Now, in the truck entry list, there were 37 trucks entered. One has withdrawn. We'll talk about that in a little bit because it ends up being a bigger storyline. So, in the truck series for New Hampshire, there are 36 now entered. Amongst the notables, we have Brent Cruz in the 1 again, Stephen Malozzi in the 2 truck, Jason Alexander in the 02 truck, this is going to be his last start of the year, Norm Benning in the 6, Patrick Emmerling in the 7. Nice to see him in the Spire truck again. Christian Eckes in the 16, his second of 2 truck starts this year. Mason Massey in the 20 for Young's Motorsports. That's a bit of a surprise because I know that deal ended early last year in the truck, so I'm kind of surprised with that, but nice to see him back. Blake Lothian, love to see this guy in the 22 truck. Blake's an awesome dude.
Very excited to see how he does.
Tyler Tomasi in the 33 truck. This is another last-minute deal. I feel like Tomasi's been getting all these last-minute deals this year in the truck series, especially with Rayom or someone else, like in Xfinity. Like, he's been getting a lot of last-minute deals. I've noticed it a lot. Connor Jones in the 41 truck again. Mike Christopher Jr. making his debut. He's the nephew of legend Ted Christopher. Derek White in the 69 truck. Nice to see the MBM truck back again. Caleb Costner in the 74. I believe the truck was originally going to be driven by Tim Vines, but it looks like he has pushed back that deal to Talladega. And those are pretty much all the notables there. So still a lot of notable entrants for the trucks. The one withdrawal, though, was the 97 of Carson Quapple, which the reason for that is because he was going to have no crew chief. Because a crew chief change has been made at CR7 Motorsports. Grant Enfinger no longer has Jeff Stankiewicz as his crew chief, which I don't agree with that move. I don't know what happened. I mean, Grant has, even though he hasn't won this year, he's still been amazing for what the 9 truck can do. So I personally heavily disagree with that move.
There could be any number of things happening there. Like they could be gearing up for next year. With who they're trying to bring in. Jeff may have gotten another deal somewhere. Any number of things could have happened behind the scenes, but from my perspective, I don't agree with it either. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. I just think that the equipment is doing what it can do, and Grant is definitely driving everything he can and get everything he can out of said equipment.
Yeah, I think there were
from my point of view.
I think there were some other truck announcements in terms of drivers. I don't 100% remember what those were, but I think there were some Talladega, the 28 truck announced they're not going. That's a big surprise because they always go to Talladega, so that was a really big surprise to me. And then I think there was some other announcement. It may have also been related to Talladega. I don't 100% remember, but I think now it would be a good time to move on to the Cup portion, which, again, not really going to talk a whole lot about who's in the race because it's all 36 full-time drivers. We don't really need to go through all of them. Plus, I mean, no open cars, unfortunately, for the second week in a row. I think I heard something that New Hampshire is one of the lowest-paying races of the year once. I think I once heard something about that.
That would make sense. And then just the economics of getting out there. It's a pretty far ride and especially where you're going through New England and there's holes and everything. It just gets
New
very
Hampshire.
expensive.
New Hampshire is also one of the longest travels for the teams.
Hmm.
Like it's longer than people realize it is. Like it's not saying going to the West Coast, but going to New Hampshire for the haulers. I mean, it's as long as I think maybe going out to the Midwest of like maybe like I think it's something around like that. So like I feel people don't really realize how long the travel is for some of these guys, for most of these guys. Like, but I mean, I still enjoy New Hampshire being on the schedule because New England is a market we need in NASCAR. Because like like it's the only track in New England that we go to. If we're counting the Cup Series, like we obviously go in the trucks to Lime Rock, which thankfully that's staying. I mean, it's just that with New Hampshire, like it's a great market, and they are bringing the Richmond tire as well. So I think New Hampshire could easily put on a great. New Hampshire in general has been pretty good with the next gen compared to the other smaller tracks. Like New Hampshire, and I would probably say Dover and Richmond, like the three of them have been probably better amongst short tracks on the Cup schedule with the next gen. So I'm not really too worried. I mean, but like just from what I've seen in general, those three tracks have actually been better with the next gen compared to how they were viewed before the next gen. Like Bristol, Martinsville were viewed as the best tracks with the next gen. Now Richmond, as well as New Hampshire and Dover, I would say are probably viewed the best with the next gen amongst short tracks. And then like in terms of Cup at New Hampshire, I mean, there's also been some playoff talk. I mean, we already talked about playoffs. I think Brett Griffin did hint at there being like a final 6 next year if they go to 4 races. I mean, I feel everyone took that out of context at first because everyone, it seemed like, was thinking at first that it was going to be 1 race with 6 drivers because that's what it seemed like all the reactions were. But from my understanding, and with all the playoffs and stuff, I know Jeff Burton was all saying, "Oh no, TV doesn't have any deal with this. NASCAR can make any decision they want." Well, Jeff Gluck though said that TV is the last say in the deal. So like, I mean, I don't really know who to trust here.
There's a lot of conflicting reports on how much each stakeholder has in it. The networks have a big say because ultimately it's their airtime that they're selling to sponsors, that they're selling advertising space for. So they want to put on the best possible product, something that a lot of people are going to tune into. So naturally, they're going to have a pretty big voice. I don't know if I agree with the final 6 per se. I think you just cut out 1 round and you knock it down to from 16 down to 4 still. But you have it over 4 races that are 4 distinct disciplines is the way I would personally do it. But I would also opt for the regular chase format of 10 races.
Yes,
over what we currently have.
That's what I would prefer.
Because I don't think that necessarily a playoff is bad. Because we had some really good battles there
Tony
over
Stewart
the course
and
of that
Carl
10.
Edwards. Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards, for example. And I wasn't even watching then, but I didn't start watching until 2012. But Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards has always been regarded. Although I will admit that battle probably eventually led to the current system because Tony Stewart wasn't really a contender all year. That year, and then he comes up and starts contending. So I feel that's why that format ended up going away once Tony Stewart did that. But I think though, in terms of this format, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I'm okay doing 3 rounds. I'd be somewhat okay with it. I mean, the big improvement though is there's no more winner take all race because that seems to be unanimously, in fact, from what I've heard on that playoff committee, what people do not want. I mean, that's what Jeff Gluck has said. We are done with 1 race, winner take all. I don't know how they're going to do the driver split. Because if it's 6 drivers in 4 races, if it's 4 races with 6 drivers, how are they going to do all the rounds before that? I mean, I personally still think 16 is too many. I hope they do not go above that. But like, what's the distribution gonna be? Like, is it gonna be 16, 10, 6? Like 16, 9, 6? Like, what are they gonna do with the distribution? Like,
Yeah, it's I don't really, because there hasn't been a whole lot inside the industry that's really given us a good idea of what we're expecting with that. Um, I would hope they'd go down to 12
same.
personally, because that would make it a lot easier to have the same number of people cut each round. Um, but that's still for NASCAR to decide. We still have 7 races left this season
Yeah, and
before
also
we even
for
can focus on that.
the people within the committee to decide, because there's over 40 people on that committee, well, about 30 to 40 from what Jeff Gluck mentioned a while back. He did mention that like they're mostly a feedback committee,
hmm
and they seem to have, and it's made up of various different people in the sport. So like, it's just that, I think that committee. I think it's great that NASCAR's even doing that committee. It's an incredible. I think absolutely great that NASCAR has a feedback committee like that within the sport to fix this. I mean, I think there's plenty of things that NASCAR should do in terms of this committee. Like, you get a bunch of engineers in a room every week to discuss next gen changes. Like
hmm
that's something, I think would be interesting to see come out of the sport as well. But I think in terms of what the format's going to look like, now it's possible that Freddie could also have said something that was not set in stone, because I don't know if 6 is going to be the exact number, because I remember Denny months ago said we might have a final 5, which I
hmm
feel 5 would be better if you for some reason want to have more drivers in the last round. I mean, I'm just glad we're doing more races. If we have a 4-race final round, you will crown a more legitimate champion.
hmm
Like, I think you will. Now, it also just depends on the races. Like, I know unfortunately Talladega is going to be part of this round, but it might be just a 1-year thing. Like, Talladega might go back to being into the second round, or heck, even the first
hmm
round. Like, I feel they may change that. But again, TV also, I think, wanted Talladega to be one of their main NBC races this year, because NBC also cut back on races on their main channel, which they should absolutely go back to having races on their main channel. Like, that's the main reason that's one of the main reasons we've seen ratings decline this year. By the way, the ratings were a 300,000 drop for the Bristol night race. Like, that's why I think that they really need to get more of these races on the main network, because viewership is dropping because less people are buying cable.
hmm
Cable is still going down. And because that's happening, less people are going to be able to watch these cup races. So, like, I mean, there's other factors. Like, some people don't like the next gen, some people don't like playoffs. Like, but I just feel this is like one of the biggest factors. Like, it's without a doubt going to be a higher view count if you race on a main channel. And I know
Yep.
there's talk about them bringing back NBCSN, because NBC just got the NBA and Major League Baseball, I think, as well. Like I was talking with my roommate about this last night. There's talk about them getting NBCSN back, so like it's possible with that, and because there's also the whole split with Comcast, with them trying to get rid of MSNBC and USA. So like,
hmm
it's possible maybe we could see cup races go back to a revived NBCSN. It's just something that I've heard about. I'm just not 100% sure about. So I think now would be a good time to transition to the last two things we'll talk about. Uh,
hmm
the 2026 IndyCar schedule was released, and there are a few major changes. One being that Phoenix is back on the schedule for the first time since 2018. First time on this new configuration of Phoenix, or
hmm
somewhat different configuration. They only moved the start-finish line, and ever since then. Plus, they've moved some dates around. Laguna Seca is back to being the finale, and Nashville Superspeedway has been moved to July, which I believe is going to be under the lights. Actually, I think it's going to be a Sunday night race from what I've seen, which that's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I just hope they keep it on the oval for the foreseeable future, but they're having that as the lead-in from the final match of the World Cup, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
hmm
And then they are also moving the Toronto Street Race to Markham, so like there's a lot of different changes. very disappointed though, no Mexico City, because they've been trying to get that, and disappointed in no, and I saw also no Washington D.C. this year, but yeah, there was also Arlington for next year. Like, Iowa's gone, Thermal's gone. Thank God.
Yeah.
I did not want to see that again.
Yeah, that one I'm not upset about at all.
Yeah, Iowa I'm a bit upset, but again, like, Penske did not promote that race whatsoever.
No, they
They
didn't.
Penske doesn't promote it. But I mean, just wanted to kind of talk about the Indy schedule quickly. I've seen some people interpret Phoenix, the Indy car schedule, as being as NASCAR saying, "Oh, we let them race at our tracks in the lawsuit," which I could see, but I feel like it also was just because they needed a date to fill Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's on one of, like, because, you know, if we didn't go to Toronto, for example, or if we were not able to go back to Canada, I feel we would have gone to, like, Watkins Glen or maybe Mosport, because if you're in an urgent need for something, the tracks are okay with doing that. I mean, that's why we go to Nashville Super Speedway. So, like, I just feel that if such circumstances came up, such and such would have happened, which I think is another case of Phoenix being here. So the last thing I want to talk about is, the last thing we'll talk about here on the show is the gold codes that apparently came out in the whole 2311 front row lawsuit, which I think those are very big, because it was basically NASCAR's plan if a boycott amongst all 36 teams happened, and other scenarios, which, I mean, to be fair, anyone would plan for that. I mean, any company would plan for the worst case scenario, because, you know, you want to be prepared. I mean, NASCAR had a whole plan for if COVID happened all the way through the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what are your kind of thoughts about the whole gold codes we've seen?
Well, I don't really blame them for having those contingencies. When you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation like that, you have to plan for stuff like that. The stuff I had seen, like, in order, it was going to be the Xfinity teams, or excuse me, it was non-charter teams, after ones that were not part of the boycott. Then it would be Xfinity teams, and it would be ARCA cars would be able to fill a field, and that was a very interesting concept there. It goes back to some. Yeah, I was going to say that's something that a lot of people. Once again, you go on Twitter, you see everything under the sun, every good idea, bad idea, whatever you want to call it. But a multi-class race is something that, you know, that could actually be kind of fun.
I'd love to see NASCAR do that in the future. Like, I've seen some people say that they should do that for the All-Star race in Dover. Like I don't know if they do that, but it'd be kind of fun to see. But I mean, some of the other things that came up in the lawsuit were potential, like, suitors for who could get a charter. I mean, I'm just trying to find the images again. I remember Bob Pockris posted all of them, which kudos to him for that. Bob, again, is probably the greatest source of journalism we got in the sport right now, without a doubt.
Oh, dude, even like in the industry, we go look at Bob's Twitter for stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, because Bob's the most trustworthy, and honestly also very fun. He's also very funny when it comes to roasting people sometimes.
I just think it's so funny that sometimes we find out things through him. Like, a good example is like lightning delays. If we're sitting up there waiting on a lightning delay, and we don't hear anything from the official that's stationed up there with us, and then we say, well, according to Bob, it says we got 15 minutes left.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I find pretty funny too. But yeah, going through some of the gold codes again, there was also, yeah, I'll pull up the screenshot on my phone here in a second. Like, they also were looking at what would happen if they had to field all 36 cars. Like, how much would it cost? And we can see the costs of the next gen car, as a matter of fact, in those plans, which they are expensive, just for the record. As Tommy Baldwin also said on Door Bumper Clear, which, I mean, every time people try to call him a shill, then Tommy fired back, being like, "No, I'm not going to be a shill right now, because this is because that's complete. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just something to consider. I mean, there was also, and I mean, in the plans there was also like there was also what like they also consider reducing the field to 30 cars if such happens. Like there was also like parity, how it can be established, and then who would hold a charter, which I think this was the most interesting part of this. And this will probably be the last part of this we'll talk about. But the most interesting part were like team owners that they were interested in giving charters to, or those that that actually have been interested in buying a charter. Because of people, apparently everyone on that was listed here had interest in buying a charter at one point. JR Motorsports, Sam Hunt, Andretti, Ganassi, Ray Hall, McLaren, Wayne Taylor, McAnally, Tricon, Thorsport, Action Express, Riley, I don't know what that would be, Nice, and then new owners, including Phyllis Newhouse, John Menard, Mumford and Sons, which I think is the band. So
I think that is, yeah.
That is, I think that I would imagine that has to be the same thing as the band. So I mean, very interesting plan they had here for what they would have filled the field with, because those would be some and I mean, I feel that also kind of gives an indication maybe of future teams if we get, depending on what happens with the lawsuit and if NASCAR fills those other 4 charters they have. So yeah, very interesting thing to kind of touch it. But again, we'll see what happens. Everything gets decided once December 1st comes around. This is all going to trial. I don't think we're going to get a settlement in the lawsuit. This is all going down there. We are going to be tuning into it every second we can.
I'm very excited to see how this turns out from the team perspective, because I do hope that that the teams get a better cut than what we've currently got in terms of prize money. That would be nice to see.
It'll be a relief for the fans as well, because a lot of fans are getting tired of hearing of NASCOURT.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that we've even come to this point. But...
Yeah, and this isn't even the only lawsuit. I mean, we got another one that in January, another trial in January, the Legacy Motor Club Rick Ware Racing lawsuit. But we'll see where that one goes. But again, I think that's going to be the end of this episode. You got any closing thoughts, John?
Well, make sure you're rooting for that 67 car this week at the ARCA race at Salem. I think we're gonna have a good run.
Yeah, I hope so as well. And Ryan, I mean, he's an awesome guy. I mean, he knows how to drive a car really well. Like, had an awesome run in the 67 back at Kansas. Was gonna have a good one at DuQuoin. Unfortunately, some mechanical issue came up, if I remember correctly. But just
yeah, the motor had a bad day that day.
So yeah, just hope it goes great for Ryan. So that's going to be the end of this episode. Again, thank you, John, for joining me. This is a very great episode, 500 miles. Glad I finally got to have someone else on instead of it just being me the last 2 weeks, because that was kind of boring with it being just me. So nice having you on, John. We'll see you guys again for the 18th episode next week, reviewing New Hampshire and previewing, what's next? Kansas. So Kansas will be after that. So thank you guys all for watching. We'll see you guys next week on 500 Miles, and have a great rest of your night, guys. Good night.
Have a good night.